"Whoa!" Jack yelled out, as he fell out of bed. Luckily he hadn't been foolish enough to have set Dante up right next to him, just in case of any accidents like this. What stood in front of him, holding a tray, looked like a collection of rocks, pebbles and dirt, vaguely moulded into a humanoidish form. Staring at it wide-eyed, he levelled his gun at the thing, as it slowly motioned to the tea it had, and began to pour Jack a cup. "Good morning, Jack." Zale perked up, as they walked in after the hulking thing. No, please don't shoot him. He's really nice and still owes me favours." Jack just stared back at the squad car with the biggest WTF expression on his face, not saying anything, as the pile of rubble held out the mug for him to take, which he eventually did, after he got the feeling it was staring at him. "Zale?" Jack began. "What's going on?" "Are you okay, Halvir?" Zale asked. "My watcher spirit alerted me that you were starting to awaken, so I thought I would make you a hot drink to wake you up. I sent my earth spirit to take it to you, while I help tidy up downstairs with my air spirit." "What time is it?" Jack asked with a groan as he got up, taking a sip of tea, and taking care not to flinch from the taste. It was strong and bitter, and it seemed like Zell had tried to counter that by putting way too much sweetener in it, but there was no way Jack was going to tell them, after they were kind enough to go through the effort of making it, and bringing it to him. "It is early morning. I didn't expect you of all people to awaken for a while yet," Zell commented. "Chiu told me you and Nika probably would be up though. Are you feeling better?" "Yeah," Jack lied. "Oh, good." Zell perked up. "I hope everyone else does too. Would you like me to get you some clothes to wear?" "Shit!" Jack cursed, as he got to his feet, quickly downing the rest of the drink, and putting the mug back on the tray, before he quickly went to the pile of clothes on the floor, and threw on a thin undershirt and shorts. "No need to be embarrassed," Zell shrugged nonchalantly. "Earth spirits don't really understand that kind of concept." Jack began, staring at the gecko, who scoffed. "What? I can grow a penis whenever I like. Why would I be bothered?" Zell smiled at Jack with a shrug. Immediately, Jack spat out the drink still in his mouth in shock, spraying the earth spirit with the milky liquid. If the spirit seemed upset, it didn't show it. "What the shit? Okay, time out," Jack spoke up, after he finished spluttering. "I don't even know if you're joking or if you're serious. That was too much." "Sorry." Zell covered their mouth to stifle their laugh. "It is true, though. My species evolved to do it to deal with population issues, but it doesn't really matter these days. At least it helps with the stupid school uniform policy. Have you ever tried wearing a skirt in a breezy winter? It's not good." "Can't say I have," Jack replied, with the first genuine chuckle he had in a while. "Is it really that terrible?" "It's really bad. My people grow up in warm swamps, but not baking hot like the summers here. That's when you get horrible chafing with dangly parts. It takes a few months to fully change, but usually Rail and I time it well to match the seasons." "Too much information," Jack snorted with a laugh. "Maybe we can change the topic to where we'll be heading to pick your stuff up." "Sure, but I think Nika might need some help." Zhao looked to the side, seemingly at nothing. "My watcher spirit is telling me she's having trouble getting to her feet." "Alright, let's not wake anyone up," Jack decided, looking at Dante with concern. Despite everything that had happened, the dog hadn't woken up from their slumber, and Jack quickly rearranged the blankets so they were better covered, but in a way that allowed everyone to check up on him without disturbing him. The two headed downstairs, followed awkwardly by the earth spirit with pebbles tapping the wood as it trundled along. "Morning," Nika groaned, as she stumbled her way to the living room clad in just her sports bra and shorts, her lower half surrounded by some kind of faint smoke that snaked around her legs and tail, until she was able to grab a blanket and wrap it around herself. "Thanks for the assist, Sale," she sighed, as the smoke coalesced and formed a small humanoid shape that stood at attention next to her. "How are you feeling?" Jack asked the Kizan, as Zhao quickly saw another opportunity to be proactively useful in making tea, while her spirits awkwardly just stood there. "Still sore, still stiff," Nika sighed, "but healing naturally. I won't let Alora give me a jump start when there could be lives at stake back at the Clan Barzum compound. We have many friends in medical comas or being put back together for resurrection, and I'll be damned if I take magical healing over them." Jack nodded as he sat on the sofa next to her. "No morning workout for us then?" Nika rolled her eyes at him. "Careful. I might try a lap around the district even if I have to crawl. I've been hurt before, but I never get used to just sitting down on the sofa and not doing anything productive. I know many of our friends like to do that, and I'm not one to judge, but I hate being forced to do nothing else without any choice in the matter." "We could find something practical," Jack considered. "I don't want to think too hard about homework, but the industrial vocation bob we were working on was fun." "The one with the 8 legs you thought up?" Nika grinned. "Yeah. We can do that here while the others are still sleeping." "I can start making breakfast if you want," Zale asked, as her earth and air spirits lingered behind her, having not been given tasks to do. "Or if it's too early, I can summon my water spirit to clean the pipes." "You should take a break instead and calm down," Jack smiled. "You've done more than enough already, and none of us even asked you to. Maybe you can sit down and rest while you tell us about your soon-to-be ex-landlord instead." "The laird?" Zale asked. "Paranoid, crazy, and power-hungry, though nothing like the horrible and powerful enemies I've heard you've encountered. He wasn't too terrible in the past, but I think ever since his position started to get tenuous, he's been making a bunch of terrible decisions. Originally, the security was alright, and it was an environment Rael and I were comfortable with, so we stayed there because it was something we could afford while we attended school. But for a while now, the dues have been going up, and we get less for it. He's been bringing in extra thugs who like to try and find people or intimidate residents into not leaving. That's why I was hoping to get our things and get out before things get worse." "What was your original plan?" Nika asked curiously. "You mentioned before how you and Raoul had it all planned out. Where would you have moved to?" "We were tempted to sign up to the Red Legion as aspirants. They provide free lodgings and military training after school, and we have friends that have already signed up. The benefits are really good if you have magical capabilities, though it does mean we'd be tied to their operations on the ring. Alternatively, Critch mentioned to Rael that his family might be in a position soon to accept some tenants. Rael was really keen on that idea for some reason." "Right," Jack smiled, suspecting some ulterior motive on the part of their Lister friend. "What kind of security has this laird got? You mentioned thugs?" "Security before was a local militia, but there were arguments about pay and a bunch of them left. The laird brought in anyone who could shoot a gun, irrespective of their background. Bandits in all but name. Some of the neighbors have reported being mugged or robbed by them, so that's mainly why I asked you for your kind assistance in the matter. Rael and I can usually move around and go to the shops without really attracting any attention, but moving out certainly would." "I get it," Jack nodded. "A capable group wouldn't be a tempting target for the bandits, so your hope is for them not to harass you to stay." "Yes," Zell nodded. "I don't like violence or confrontation, but I hate being unsafe or robbed even more. If it is possible to get to the vault where the laird is keeping the things he takes that his thugs aren't skimming off, then it may be possible to return sentimental items to my former neighbors, if they're able to get out themselves. They'd probably reward us too if we were to do it, and I'd feel more confident making the attempt with you than if it was just myself and Rael." "I can't guarantee we'll go for that, but it's something to consider if the opportunity presents itself," Jack pointed out seriously. "How were you able to pay your way before if you're a full-time student?" "My spirits are very utilitarian, and Rael is quite skilled with druidic magic," Zell shrugged. "Mainly odd jobs. We volunteered with the Green Wardens before, and sometimes we are able to sell byproducts of what we are able to produce, which keeps us afloat. We are even able to grow grain coin and other astral currencies sometimes, which helps keep us in the black, and we've learned a bit about trading in the process." Might be a good idea to repeat that to Alora, Nika pointed out, after stretching herself out more on the sofa. We have a lot of very fertile garden space, and an enthusiastic Aladri that'll be all over you. And Rel too, once they recover. Yes. Zell's expression drooped at being reminded of Rel's condition. If Jack had to guess, the reason for Zell throwing themselves into chores and jobs was as a coping mechanism to try and forget. It probably wasn't healthy, but then again, who was he to criticize? What's the district like? Jack asked. Please don't leave anything out. If we're helping you, we need to make sure we do so in the right way so we don't run into any problems. There's a lot of abandoned and ruined properties. It should be easy to hide and lay low if needed, Zell thought. Oh yeah, lots of boat travel where bridges have been busted. I usually use my spirits, but with more people I suppose that might be a problem. Boat travel? Jack asked in confusion. What kind of place is this? It's swampland suited for my species? Zell asked, sounding confused. Why wouldn't you need a boat for a place like that? Many islands or buildings amidst the canals, and the best humid environment we can afford to keep us moisturized. It is a large district spread between several factions that may turn into a horrible war, probably the next time the fog builds up. Jack pondered. Sounds almost like Venice. I went there once, but it was packed with other tourists. A bunch of islands connected by even more bridges with the buildings constantly sinking into the ground. It has a lot of history, but it's basically just a tourist trap now. Huh? Zale asked, now even more confused. I have never heard of these Venice, but yes, several of the buildings sink into the ground by design to create an underground space in certain places. I am pretty sure the vault area has multiple access points with tunnels dug underneath, so loot can quickly be taken there and possibly smuggled out. I've had watcher spirits follow some of the goons to confirm it. How long does it take for you to normally get to your place when you enter the territory? Nika asked, trying to get the gecko back on track. Just less than half an hour normally, but that is when I utilize my spirits to travel with Rael, who also helps with their druidic powers. So, likely longer, Jack nodded. Do you at least have a map? Zell fidgeted around for their comlink, reaching into one of the pockets of their newly liberated dressing gown, from the collection of clothes Jack and Scifi had robbed before bringing it up. I have the sections of it I frequently use. That'll be useful, Nika nodded. Best wait for Scifi to wake up before we check it out and map a route. Sometimes the thugs gather or patrol in places, but I just take an alternative path, Zell added. Even easier if you find or take a boat, but there is usually the occasional sentry you need to watch out for, though maybe they'll be more focused on where the other gangs will be coming from. Something to bear in mind, Jack noted. I've seen how quiet Scifi's drones can be. Maybe if she has a few hovering overhead, we can avoid any trouble outright. However, from what you've described, the militia have a habit of harassing innocent civilians. I'll tell you now, I won't stand by and let that happen if they try something like that around me. How strong are they if things go to shit? There were several infrequent patrols between 2 to 5 guards last time I was there, Zell recalled, as she filled another teapot and offered everyone drinks, which both Jack and Nika happily took. Though many times they were drunk or high on something, and didn't really do much. Maybe just keeping up appearances, Nika reasoned. Or just taking an easy job for easy pay before their employer either dies or cuts and runs with what they have. If they don't live in the community, they don't have any motivation to act like proper guards. They may also get the idea to take it for themselves if they're able to, and the laird isn't able to rein them in, Jack speculated. He seems like a poor leader, though I can't tell if it's from malice or just plain stupidity. How did he claim the territory in the first place? Both malice and stupidity, I think, Zell shrugged. And he was next in the chain of command when the previous laird and her chosen successor both apparently died to a zone raid. I think he was a clerk or a tax collector or something. Makes sense why he's not the best overall leader then, Jack replied. Okay. It sounds like a stealthy approach to your place will work as long as we detect and react to potential encounters quickly to avoid them. which will be very doable if we, at the very least, have Scifi and Chio along for the ride. Based on what you've told me, we may be able to go today, depending on how the others are feeling. It's a risk, but the situation over there could be played to our advantage, if the militia is looking a certain way, and we can sneak in and out right under their noses. I agree, Nika nodded with a grin. You have a good mind for tactics. Yeah, Jet nodded in thought. My main concern, however, is for your neighbours who haven't left yet, who may be caught in the storm. Some might be able to get out, but there may also be those who are vulnerable and can't leave unaided. The vault is optional, and I imagine Scifi would agree with you, Zale, that we should try and hit it. But that might be a risk too far. We can entertain that idea when we get there, only if things go well.
That's fair, Zale conceded. We can only do what we can, but we must be realistic about what we can do. We cannot save everyone over there.
We can only do our best, Jack agreed. Also, I think I'm ready for breakfast now. Zale quickly got to their feet, eager to throw herself into another task, but Jack shook his head. No, Zale, you've already done a lot, so sit down. I'm cooking. You need to take a chill pill. Nika, what do we have in stock? Jack admittedly had a limited number of recipes he could cook, but his father had decided he should know basic cooking skills at his age, and had Jack helping him with a few weekend family breakfasts they'd do, to give his mother a break. Fortunately, he confirmed that Zale and Vanya were able to eat the simple meal he had planned, as he counted several eggs, some prepared bacon-like equivalent they had, that were suitable for nearly every species, and the basic staples to make pancakes. He had no idea if it was officially called a Canadian or American breakfast or not, and it didn't really bother him. All Jack knew was that it was an easy dish to do for multiple people, and that he didn't know many other recipes he could do. It would be the second morning in a row he would be making pancakes, so he resolved to try and find other simple recipes he would be able to learn. He knew he had a cooking class at school next week with Chio, so maybe he'd pick something up there, or add a cookery book to the house shopping list. As the smells of the hearty food wafted throughout the house, the others slowly appeared. Chio was first, having already been awake and meditating in the basement, lazily floating upwards and plonking herself on the sofa, without too many words, except that the others that were able to were waking up. She was hungry, and she couldn't wait to eat what was cooking. Scifi and Alora eventually joined them, with Nika and Zale cluing them in on what their likely plans would be for recovering Rael and Zale's belongings.
I could come along, but...
Alora began. Nika shook her head and countered. We've already discussed it. You know Clan Barzan will need medics, and I know how serious you are about your healer's oath. I think a smaller group would be best for remaining undetected anyway, and even if things do get bad, the opposition isn't going to be anything near the Pallid Pit, or the clown attacks, which Scifi, Jack and Chio can handle. As much as I hate to say it, I can't come myself, but I can help coordinate from here via comms and keep an eye on Dante and Vanya at the same time.
All right,
Alora nodded and finally agreed.
Shoot me a message when you head out. How long do you expect to be? It's a few hours' travel from here to my place, Zale noted. Though I calculate that by my usual route, I expect it to take longer to get there safely and silently. Plus, we need to get my stuff, but I know what I will do for that.
So, let's just say a few hours, assuming all goes well, Jack shrugged. How do you plan on getting the stuff out then?
Rael and I managed to bind the powerful Earth Spirit that is currently residing there as part of our current lodge, along with a few other more powerful ones.
Zale grinned, looking proud.
It'll be able to handle getting the stuff out of the district, and I'll have the other spirits accompanying me until I can use them for something, or need to dismiss them once I dispel the lodge for good, since those ones are too powerful to bind to my astral field. I'll need to recover as many of the reagents we used in the original construction as possible, in order to more quickly rebuild here once we find a suitable space. Scifi, how many drones do you have available?
Chio asked the Skritter, who shrugged. I can bring a few more than I did for the Oracle run, but I don't want to take my whole stack. I was thinking of having a few camouflage observer drones hovering above nearby, so we can see any danger before it sees us, Scifi reasoned. I don't have any capable of shifting stuff, but if you say your Earth spirit at your home can do it, that's on you. And Chio, you should be able to detect others lying in wait, Jack asked. Yes, unless they purposefully shield themselves, as Spartal did, on our way back from the Oracle. However, since we're not expected, it's extremely unlikely we'll run into that problem. Alright, then I guess I won't need to be too worried if I offer my healing to Clan Barzum, Allura sighed. I'll head off as soon as I can then, but I would like it if you kept me updated. I've got to say I'm surprised you're taking being sidelined as well as you are, Nika. It really isn't like you. That's because I'm confident they can pull it off, and Jack will keep everyone safe, the kitten shrugged. Just don't be too tempted to go for the vault if it's too great a risk. We'll at least take a look and make sure we have a plan, Jack shrugged. From the sounds of it, the Lair's position is tenuous at best, so if we don't make the attempt, others probably will. But if we do it, we make sure we sort out anything else. If not, there's apparently abandoned properties around that you can satisfy your kleptomania with, Scifi. I take offense to being called that, Scifi replied in mock horror. I am merely an entrepreneur seeking opportunities. Don't be in a rush to go, though, Allura warned. I don't want Vanya waking up and finding barely anyone here before we've explained what we're planning for today. She'll probably be another hour before she wakes, Chio informed her. And Allura simply nodded in acknowledgement. We're not in a rush, Jack confirmed. I think most of us are still tired, so we'll go once we've eaten and woken up a bit more. Maybe we can get there when it starts to get dark, since I know Scifi's drones will still be able to see anyway. Good plan, Nika nodded. Although, Zale, how does militia activity differ from day to night? Zale thought. The Laird wants more guards patrolling at night, but in practice it doesn't differ that much. It might actually be better since Rel and I have seen guards goofing off when they think nobody is watching. Alright, sounds good, Jack nodded. We'll rest up and make our move in a few hours. Get ready.